Other than that, want to introduce Brady Tolbert from Main Street Business. Brady, thank you so much for coming on and thanks for joining us, man.
Of course, Alex. Thanks for having me. As always, it's good to chat with you. I like working with you. It's been great. And really, I want to premise this before I kind of get into things. Some of you may have been on the last call that we were on, but for others that are not, Alex is actually one of our clients. He's worked with us there for some time, and then we've worked with some of his other clients as well, people that he sent over to us. But not just us, but even our within our family of companies. I'll kind of go through and outline that, but our sister company KKOS Lawyers as well. So it's been great getting to know and work alongside you, Alex. And thank you for having me on.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I do want to touch like, I met you guys in Arizona at the Alt Asset Summit, which again, if anybody's interested in that, I would highly recommend check that out. It's something I'm very fascinated in, and I applied in my business personally and for clients. When I met you guys there, I was like, wow, this is something, this is service that I truly need. It's going to take time away from me, right? I'm an investor, I'm a real estate broker. I don't need to be doing compliance things, right? That's not my job. That's going to take me away from doing my job. So when I met you guys, and I have a number of LLCs, right? I have LLCs and S corps and so forth because of the different businesses that I do and because of the different projects I'm involved in. And it's just very hectic to maintain them and to keep track of everything. And then when you guys, told me about what you offer, I was like, damn, that's crazy. That's like exactly what I need. But then even more so, like I'll let you touch on that, but even more so like the pricing. That just blew me away. Obviously, I can compare it to others in the industry that do offer a few things here and there from what you guys do, and it's significantly lower. And like you mentioned, I've been a client since, and I'm a client of KKS Lawyers, directed IRA that you guys have done crucially impacting my business and my life and allowing me to also share this with others, and that's why I'm happy to have you here over and over again, because again, I think it's something that you guys offer an awesome service, so I'll leave
Well,
that to you
thank
to
you.
share about it.
Yeah, no, and it really is something. So small business compliance is what we really specialize in. Registered agent, privacy address services. A lot of the services that are overlooked by all types of business owners, no matter the scale, and whether it's a small business or a growing business as well. And this is something nobody wants to do. They don't want to deal with their ongoing compliance. And even for a lot of people, they don't tend to think about their privacy and maximizing that, their setup, whether or not to use their own home address. How does that impact them later on? Who can view this? What information is available out in the public? So there's a lot of information that we go over with business owners. And really my job, so I'm the team lead for the new service department here. And what our department does, we essentially will assist clients who book meetings with us over the phone. They've got questions about our services, and really they need advisory services on which package or which services are going to be best for them, because somebody's needs might not meet, or they may not be the same as somebody else's. Alex, you may not be as concerned about your privacy as somebody else might, depending on your industry or where you're at. So there's different services that we can provide, and we tend to personalize those as much as possible to really meet the needs of each individual. So
I
hopefully I
mean, yeah.
do a good job here for all you guys. My partner is supposed to be with me. He's out sick today. He called out this morning. I said, "Oh, sure, yeah, out sick today." So
While you
just
set that up, I mean, the cool thing is also just the touch points that you guys have with your clients, reminding them of this is coming up, this is due, just to avoid any, violations, any fines, any fees, any non-compliance issues. So it's truly very helpful.
yeah. Alex, can you confirm? Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I can't tell on my end if it is. Okay, no, that'll be great. So, just to premise, we are Main Street Business Services, and the idea of the name Main Street Business Services, and we'll get into the owners of our company in a little bit, but our goal is to bring the secrets of Wall Street to Main Street business. We want everybody to know the loopholes and to know all of the inner secrets of people who have made it financially successful, who have grown incredible companies. But each of those successful people have taken these essential steps in the journey of creating their business, setting up their legacy, and being able to really build that. So we're here to serve you and your clients. I don't know if anybody here will have clients that might need this. Maybe you yourself offer advisory services, and this can help fill in the gaps where you may not have the capabilities to provide this for your clients. So whatever it may be, we're here to simplify small business compliance and to maximize protections for you and your clients and their privacy. So the owners of the company here are Mark Kohler and Matt Sorensen. These may be names that you've all heard before. Mark Kohler actually has a top 1% podcast on YouTube. He's big in the tax industry. He's got over 25 years of experience, thousands and thousands of clients in all of the various companies that he owns that each play a different role here. And then Matt Sorensen, he really specialized. So he's a tax lawyer as well, but a lot of his expertise or specialties lie in the field of retirement strategies, self-directing your own IRA and taking your own retirement into your hands. So we've got the backing of experts. We've got all of their secrets that they've learned through, again, nearly 30 years, 3 decades of experience in doing this for all types of clients.
And I would
So
highly recommend, for anyone, just check out their social media, check out their YouTube page.
yes,
Very, very, very informative, very down to earth guys, very knowledgeable, caring, helpful, and so forth. I believe the directed IRA summit was this past weekend. I couldn't make it. I usually go there, but Matt Sorensen as well. Again, I have. He has this book. I bought a few of them and I gave them away. It's a great book, very informative about, again, how to self-direct your IRA, how you can invest in other things outside of just regular stocks and ETFs and so forth. Like, they try to make you think you can, and just opens up so many doors for investors, both passively and actively. So I highly encourage you guys to check them out.
yeah. Yeah, and one thing I do want to add as well, because when you say tax lawyer or tax attorney, both Matt and Mark are tax attorneys, but it's not what you would typically think of. Mark Kohler is very lively. He's very animated. He's
Yes, very.
very, very entertaining to listen to. So even if you're busy, if you're traveling, you could easily put on one of his podcasts. It'll keep you entertained while you're still learning things, and you could start to implement a lot of these strategies into your own business. Now a lot of this content and these tips and tricks are free. I mean, their YouTube and social media and their podcasts, a lot of this content is a great place to start to become familiar with. You never know what you don't know till you
Yeah.
start listening. There's a lot that I think everybody could benefit from. But here I've got a little graphic outlining our family of companies, because this is the other benefit of working alongside of Main Street Business Services or KKOS Lawyers, is that within any of our ecosystem, we have something for every aspect of your business. Whether you're starting to think about retirement, maybe you want to take things into your own hands and self-direct. Like I said, we've got directed IRA, Main Street Tax Pros, and Alex, I believe you're a Main Street Tax Pro yourself. Is that correct? Or you're in the program?
I'm not. No, that's the only thing
Okay.
I'm not in. No.
Okay, that's
But
right.
I'm tied with someone in the program that does my, some of my bookkeeping and stuff like that.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so the Main Street Tax Pros is a network of tax advisors, CPAs. They all have different specialties and knowledge base around different areas. So you can actually search and shop around, find somebody that's going to meet your needs there. And you can, put in different filters. If you're wanting somebody that specializes in cryptocurrency, we've got it. And then KKOS Lawyers is the law firm. That's where Matt and Mark got started. That was the beginning of everything. Just setting up new entities, helping people do it the right way, making sure they have all of their documents, that everything's, set up correctly. That way, it's a little bit different than LegalZoom. So we make sure it's done right, and we're very thorough with it too. But Main Street Business Services, we actually were part of KKOS Lawyers directly. We were the company maintenance department just about 5 years ago. But Mark wanted to separate that aspect of things because it really is different from the setup process. This is the ongoing compliance. It's super simple. And so that's what we handle. And here I actually have an outline of the three main services that we do provide. There's the company maintenance or company compliance services. And this ranges from tracking and filing state annual reports to assisting with annual minutes, advice on like board meetings, how to set up your board of advisors, things like that. This is one step that is critically overlooked by most business owners and especially LLC owners. And I don't know, Alex, if you've heard this before, but most LLC owners, they've either never heard of annual minutes or they just don't care because they're told it's not required.
Yeah.
And in truth, they're not required by the state. That's the distinguishing factor that most of them overlook. And so the annual minutes, they're going to serve as protection regardless of whether you're the owner of a C Corp, S Corp, an LLC, or even an LLC taxed as an S or C Corp. You're going to want to make sure that you've got annual minutes to strengthen your corporate veil. If you're ever in a court of law, find any legal issues with your company, you're going to be able to show and demonstrate that you're a legitimate business owner and that you're running everything as you should as a legitimate company. But then on the side of tax savings or with taxes, if you've got a good CPA that knows all the different things you can and should be writing off for your business, that's going to be great on your end. But you might be audited by the IRS. And there are certain write-offs or things that you should be taking for your business that are going to be regular expenses, things that are planned for that are a part of your policies. So those need to be discussed in a formal meeting. You need to have a board meeting and you need to outline those. And that's what's going to go on the annual minutes is some of the decisions or the inner workings of the company that are decided at these board meetings throughout each year. So that's something that will help to simplify because I know it's a handful, especially if you've never done it before. But it is something you want to make sure that happens because if you're audited, this is going to serve as protection in that. So,
And there's ways, obviously with the way Mark presents it is that you can actually do it, remain compliant, and also, go on a trip on a board meeting or family meeting or something
yep.
and make it the tax write-off and doing it the right way. And one thing I wanted to touch on, like with what you just mentioned, and to tie it with the previous slide is the cool thing about this, and what I experienced is talking to the Main Street tax pros, and when I attended the Alternative Asset Summit, and I met a lot of them there in person, is these people specialize with real estate investing, or like you mentioned, crypto, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in my as an investor and in my industry, it blows me away. And when I see, accounting is pretty broad, and just like being a doctor, right? There's specific areas of specialties, and I feel obviously, when you're doing real estate investing, I feel you should work or get an accountant or a CPA that is familiar with it. Either they invest themselves, they know how to, because they're gonna know the ins and outs, what you should and shouldn't do. They're gonna know a way how to get your taxes done correctly, but at the same time protect you. So there's a big difference from one, CPA doing your taxes or preparing your tax plan, right? It's not just doing your taxes. It's actually a tax strategy and a tax plan, which, I'm working for myself with KQS on that. It's a game changer. So definitely work with someone that actually specializes in it when it comes to taxes.
I appreciate that, Alex. I concur with that. I think that's a great point is you do want somebody that knows what they're talking about with your specific situation. And that's why I say here we really do look at personalizing all of the options. And that's why instead of having, CPAs in office, we extend it out. All these people at the Main Street Tax Pros have gone through Mark Kohler and Matt Sorensen's their training program. So they're going to speak the same language across the board as we do or as KKOS Lawyers does, or even at Directed IRA. But then when it comes down to doing your taxes, that's what they know the best beyond that. So it's really a comprehensive spot to begin. If you want to look, a lot of them are doing comprehensive business consulting. And so a lot of the times you might start there and they might recommend you over to us or KQS. But that's what we're here for, is kind of connect that network. One of the other things that is critically overlooked, and I'm surprised by this one, because personally, I wouldn't want my home address being available on public filings. And especially as a registered agent, many people don't fully understand the responsibility that a registered agent bears. So this is the main service that we provide as a registered agent because, for one, it's legally required in all 50 states. You have to have a registered agent. It needs to be a physical address in that state. So if you have a holding company that you set up in Wyoming because you want to maximize privacy, or maybe take advantage of some of the Delaware tax advantages, you may not have a Delaware or a Wyoming address. So it's a no-brainer. You're going to need to have a third-party registered agent. But what a lot of people don't understand is the registered agent is the point of contact for your business on behalf of the state. And so if there's a legal notice, anything that's time sensitive or urgent, or even a service of process or a lawsuit, that's going to show up to your door. If you list your own address, especially if you work out of a home office, I don't know if you want somebody to show up to your door, serve you a process, and you come out to receive it, and your neighbor's watching, and that's not great. And so the other thing with it is, if you don't care about that, you're not worried about the privacy side of things, you need to be available during regular business hours to receive these notices, especially anything on the legal side of it. If somebody's attempting to serve you a process or a summons, they want to sue you, and you're on vacation, that's the number one question I actually get is, that doesn't apply when I'm on vacation. Yes, it does.
That's when it applies.
The world does not stop turning just because you're traveling, or even if you're out of state for a work trip. You're busy people. You're the owner of a business. You're trying to grow and scale. You don't have time to worry about these little things. It's like what you mentioned, Alex, is you don't have time for this. It's taking you away from your job, from being able to do what you do best. And really, at the end of the day, it's robbing you of your peace of mind. You don't want to worry about the notices. You don't want to worry about your privacy being pierced, your corporate veil being at risk. And so we offer a registered agent for all of these situations. So that's going to be the main thing that I would consider if I was the owner of a business, whether it's an existing business or I'm starting fresh. I would want to look into getting a solid registered agent that I can count on to make sure that I never miss a notice and that my information is not on the public filings.
There's a key word there you mentioned, business, right? Not many people run their business like a business, and
No.
it's crucial. Like, if you are going to take yourself seriously, what you do seriously, you want to run it as a business, you have entities, LLCs, let the professionals do their part for you and run it like a business so you focus on what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Alex. That's a good
Generate more
point, 'cause
business.
yes, exactly. Because a lot of people, they are in that transition period where maybe they started out with a sole proprietorship and they're
Yeah.
ready to take that next big step. They want to, limit their liability further and create an LLC, maybe move to that next step in their growth. But then they continue to run it like a sole proprietorship. You can't do that. You need to take things seriously if you're going to take that next step. Because the whole point of an LLC is to limit your liability. So if you're not going to take the appropriate steps, and if you're not going to run it like a business, then the limited liability is just in the name and nothing more. And then an extension to that really is privacy needs, because in this day and age, we're increasingly digital. You might have a website. Your information is going to be out there in more places than just with the Secretary of State, your banks, or the IRS. And so with our privacy address services that we offer, you'll be able to use our address to list that on your website, essentially anywhere with third-party senders, on loans, anything for your business. And so that's going to keep your address private in those areas as well. And with investing especially, you're building a portfolio. You're trying to increase your wealth. You're making deals. You're doing these things. If somebody's looking to create a profile on you, they want to get any information they can, maybe attempt to come after your assets or do anything like that, don't make it easy on them. Keep your information private. Do what you can there. Something that complements this service really well, something KKOS lawyers might recommend. Alex, I don't know if you're familiar with this concept, but a lot of people, and especially nowadays, it's becoming more and more common, might look at creating a trust to own their business. Maybe you do a membership transfer agreement, and you're going to transfer the ownership of your business into a trust. so that your name is no longer listed as the owner on the state filings. And so
So yeah,
that's a great strategy.
it's awesome when the attorney brought it up to me. We're structuring the trifecta, and it looks beautiful, very visual, and that's, one of the most important things for, privacy and also protection. You can put the LLC in there as well and everything. So
You know,
it's a
yeah.
key
So
part.
if privacy is your thing and you really want to lock down that privacy and limit your liability, I would look into doing something like that. And then if you have your trust own your company, then we would look at doing the privacy address services to really complement that. And that's how you're going to maximize your privacy on all of the public records, anywhere that somebody might find that. So, I mean, it's this little slogan that our COO, David, he came up with this when we were discussing how to really present this information to make sure that it's clear is when privacy matters, our solutions deliver. And I want to come back to, what I talked about is we have a lot of different packages or services to meet the specific needs of people as individuals. We treat you as individuals, and your solutions might be different from somebody else's, or even from Alex here. And so if you're not concerned about privacy, maybe you're not in the type of industry where that's going to be an issue, just let us know. We'll look at different things. But I think that's going to be the best step moving forward is we want to identify what you're concerned about. What is your business? What do you do? Are you worried about privacy? Do you have an actual office, a physical address that's going to be best to use and kind of help you there? And then if you have need of any other services that we don't provide, we're going to get you to another one of the companies within our vast network. And so really just to safeguard your business, it's privacy by default, especially if you're setting up a new company. So if any of you on here are in that stage I mentioned with a sole proprietorship, you're looking to take that next stage, you're going to set up an LLC. The best time to maximize privacy is from the beginning. If your company's existing, it's already been filed, it's on the state records, it doesn't mean that you can't utilize these services, but your best time to do it is from the very beginning, because some states, they do keep a record of previous addresses or previous filing information. So if somebody really wants to find your information, they might start digging and do a little bit of research. It's not as likely, but that is something to consider. So if you're to that stage, you want to look into doing this from the start. You got privacy by default. We maximize privacy and safeguard your assets and asset protection. Something I'd like to mention with the annual minutes that we complete. Some of the most commonly asked questions that we get when speaking with clients on the phone is, that's great, they love the concept, but they wonder how we get the information from them to really simplify this so that it is a custom set of minutes. We've got all the details from their board meetings because we can't be present for the board meeting. But what we do, and this is actually a new feature, Alex, I don't know if you've logged into your own client portal recently, but we're making some upgrades with the portal. There's going to be some new features. There will be a 25-point questionnaire beyond just the annual one we do. It'll be a quarterly guide for your board meetings, because a lot of people, if you've never held a board meeting, you don't know what to discuss. You don't know what's important to go over. So that's going to help guide you through that. And then this annual questionnaire that we send out has a list of questions. You go through, you can fill it out based on the information you've gone over. And that way it has everything personalized. And then once we've got that, our team of experts, they go through, they draft the minutes. We have a secure online portal where all of your completed filings, your minutes, all of the records are kept on file here. And you've got full access to view and manage everything online. Same with the registered agent or privacy address services. If there's a service, a process, a legal notice, or any type of mail for your business, you can view and manage all of it on this online portal because we'll scan and upload it there. So the ease and convenience, that's the number one key to what we do is we make it easy. You don't have time to deal with with high maintenance or hassle. So
And yeah, I haven't had a lot of chance to check out the port. I mean, it's very user friendly. I just haven't needed to really use it. I did, log in and do the basics and stuff, but it's definitely presentable and very user friendly, and that's the cool thing. You guys make it simple to use. Carlos has a question. He's asking, when do you send this questionnaire to clients?
gotcha. And I believe Carlos, you're a client of ours, are you not?
Yes, we you
Yes.
guys connected.
Yep, that's right. I believe I spoke with you myself.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that questionnaire that we'll send, we do that typically a month prior to when your entity is due for renewal. Because again, the calendar year is not necessarily how your business will operate. It's going to be based off of formation date when that company was initially registered with the state, because it would have been a year at that point since you initially formed the company. When is your upcoming renewal, for example? An email reminder. Yes, so the email reminder about the minutes. So we send out a notification letting you know what to expect for the year. And a lot of this information will now be available on your client portal as well with some of the updates. You should be able to see like when your state filing is due, and then like with the questionnaire, you can actually go in beforehand, even before we send it out to you. There should be a way that you can fill that out on the portal.
So the portal tells you what to expect, what's coming up, and things like that, basically.
Yes, and there will be emails as well, just notifying you. And then the best part about all of this as well is it's not like a sign up and you're done kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This can be as hands off as you need it to be. Like Alex, you mentioned, you set everything up with us, and from there you haven't really done much because
Hmm.
it can be that hands off. But if you're somebody that likes to be aware of every little detail, or maybe you have other questions, you're going to have a compliance specialist on our team that is assigned over your account, and they'll be available if you have questions. You can call or email and set up a meeting, and we'll be able to walk you through that. So there is availability during our business hours that you can contact us.
We have another question from Ping. How does it work if a California business uses a Utah address? Does it look suspicious to customers?
I don't think it looks suspicious to customers. The main concern would be, and it depends on what you're using the address for. So with our Utah address, you have the option to use this basically anywhere and everywhere on the public filings. But if you're a lender, for example, I learned this from working with a client recently, or a broker. There are certain things that you'll need a California address for.
Yeah.
On those, they're less public. There's less concern about using your own address. Maybe you need to do something like that. But I want to bring it back with our services. The main aspect is privacy where it matters most, is again on these public filings. It's something that we've learned as well, as with just about every state, we can get in and we can run a list based off of formation date. We can look at newly formed businesses, and we'll be able to obtain email addresses, phone numbers for some states, but your address is well listed on file. And so anybody can go through and do that. They can find your addresses. So the main area that I would be concerned again is with the state, with your banks, and then even the IRS, like on your EIN. Again, those are more secure, but it is a public filing. So
Can you touch, if we don't have any other question before you continue, can you touch a little bit on the BOI? Like what's the status now as of today? Because when we get off this call, something might change with that. But as of right
yes,
now, what's up with the BOI?
no, thank you. I gotta say I'm personally sick of talking about the VOI, but it is important. It's something that's been really scary. Any of you that have had your businesses longer than a year now would remember when the BOI report rolled out at the beginning of 2024. It stands for Beneficial Ownership Information. It was a report required by an organization known as FinCEN, which is a bureau in the U.S. Department of Treasury. Now, they were requiring you to file certain information about who's owning this company, because there had been some money laundering through LLCs, a lot of things. They want to know who's actually benefiting from these. And so it had gone back and forth through the course of the year, but especially the last month of 2024, a lot of court cases even escalated to the Supreme Court. But at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, it was deemed unconstitutional that they're requiring you as a business owner to submit certain information like this. And so as of now, I believe it was the end of March, the final ruling was made that this is basically dead in the water. The only businesses that they can require this for now is for like foreign businesses operating within the United States.
Got it.
So for any domestic United States-based companies that are not originally from other countries, will not have to file this report. For any of our clients that this might still apply to, this is something we can file on your behalf, and we'll advise you on whether or not you can file it. And again, part of the company compliance services we provide comes down to compliance advisory as well. We're going to notify you if there is a change at the state or federal level with the reporting requirements, or if something new comes in and replaces the BOI report. We want you to be aware of it. We want you to know about it, because with the BOI report, for example, Alex, you'll remember some of the fees that they threatened was $500 per day that this was not filed on time, up to
Felony,
$10,000.
right? A
Yeah,
felony.
and jail time. Yes. So it was a big deal, and you could see, why it lost in court at the end, but it was a big deal, and it was scary. And so that's something that we've included in our services, is making sure that you're up to date on all of this. So if you are a foreign entity from outside of the United States, you're operating here, I would encourage you to connect with my team. We would want to look at that situation and make sure if it's something you need to file, or even if you have doubts about it, we can file that for you as part of your membership here. So there's no extra cost with it. Luckily, that's the one benefit, is even when it was required, FinCEN, the organization that required it, and this was surprising to me, because any federal organization, you'd think they'd have fees associated with
Yeah.
the filing, but they didn't charge anything. So if you're worried about it, or are second guessing it, contact us. We'll help you out with that. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing with this is I like to look at the services we provide, especially company compliance services, as it's like insurance for your business, making sure that you're in good standing. You don't anticipate on getting in a car accident, but when you do, or if anything happens, you're glad you have insurance.
Peace of mind. Peace of
Yes,
mind.
peace of mind. My personal example with that is I like to skateboard, and I broke my collarbone last year. I wasn't gonna do
Ouch.
insurance. I just turned 26 last year, and I was in that phase where I'm like, I don't know if I can or should do this, or we'll just worry about it next year. I gotta say, I'm glad I did the insurance, because when the medical bills hit, helped us out a ton. So applying this concept to your businesses, you want to make sure that you've got everything lined out correctly. It really does come down to peace of mind. So if you're not worried about it, keep doing things how you are. But I think a lot of people would benefit from at least being aware of their situation. What is required? Are you currently in good standing? Should you be worried about your privacy? Maybe you're not currently, but maybe you want to schedule a follow-up call, and we'll look at your situation, and we'll identify whether or not you should be. And I could tell you straight up whether or not you should be.
Take the worry away.
Yes. Yep. And I want to just move on to this here. This is one of the last slides that I've got. And just coming down to it. So if you just need a registered agent, you're in a state that doesn't have a lot of compliance requirements, and then you want to take on doing the minutes yourself, not worried about it, you might just benefit from the registered agent services here. It starts at just $125 per year. And you look at half the packages we have here, they're actually less than your Netflix subscription each year. So if you want to talk cost efficient or cost effective, these are a great deal. And so then if you get into, well, I've got a business address, we've got somebody that's available at all times, I can have that listed as the registered agent. I really just need help with company compliance. We have our compliance essential package. This is just the $199 for that. We'll take care of all of the things here, the annual state filing, annual minutes, federal state compliance monitoring. And this is great as well, is up to 3 simple entity amendment filings. So if you need an address change, or you need to change ownership information, things like that, let us know, and we can look at making those changes for you. And
This
then
is
again,
annual fees, right?
Yes, yeah, these are annual fees. This is not monthly. There are registered agent services that do charge monthly, but again, this is these are annual fees. Everything. Compliance Safeguard is essentially compliance services with registered agent. This is the main package that a lot of our clients will look into, and this is why I say privacy might be reserved for different businesses if you're in a certain field, or if you're concerned about privacy. But for the basics, really these essentials here, the compliance safeguard is going to be right for you. Still a great offer, great pricing. The only additional fees with our services, well, there's no hidden fees, there's no anything like that. The only additional fees are what your state will normally charge you to file the renewal. So, like Alex, remind me again the state that your businesses are in.
California and Pittsburgh.
Yep. So in California, for example, if it's an LLC, there is a state filing fee of just $20, but it's actually a biannual report in California. So you'll only be charged the $20 every other year as part of the membership.
So just the state filing fees in addition, the addition to this. Otherwise, this covers.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reason we don't include that with the pricing on the website right there is just because, again, it varies from state to state. And so that's why I say if you want questions or want to discuss your situation, let's book a call. We'll outline all the fees, break it down for you. And then it will outline everything during the checkout process. So if you're somebody that likes to just get on and do it yourself, you don't need a call with me or anybody on my team. You can get on and easily do it and see exactly what your fees are going to be up front. And we'll just charge everything from the beginning, and you'll be able to break it down that way. And the best part about every single one of these services we provide, again, is these are a tax write-off for your business. These are a 100% tax write-off. You want to discuss, you put them in your minutes, write them off. It's safe to do so. I would recommend making sure that you do have, a company bank account set up though, so that way you keep your accounting clean. Because again, if the IRS comes knocking, you want to do everything right and run it like a business. Do not commingle funds if and when at all possible. Because otherwise, if the IRS comes knocking and you're commingling personal funds like a sole proprietorship, don't do it. Make sure that you're running your business like a business, like Alex mentioned earlier. So, but then privacy assurance is again registered agent and privacy address services. That does not include company compliance services. Privacy Safeguard, that is the top tier service that we provide. And for less than $800 a year for your business, we'll take care of everything. You can be completely private. We'll manage all of the mail for your business, your notices, legal notices, service process, and we'll track and file all of the compliance. And we're here to advise you on any other aspect. If you need to get in touch with a tax professional or an attorney to further discuss restructuring, anything like that, we'll advise you on that, and we'll be able to set it all up. So why use our solutions? We can break it down into these four. Alex, you've mentioned most of these already. Is one, the experience. You've had a great experience. It's very hands off. If you need additional hand holding or need somebody to walk you through the process, we can provide that. So you'll have a great experience. But it is hassle free, super simple, and it's flexible. And at the end of the day, it brings peace of mind. So if your peace of mind or the peace of mind of your clients is worth, anywhere from $125 to about $800, then I'd say this is the right place for you. So.
But if you're that person that wants to be everything, you want to be the realtor, you want to be the lender, you want to be the contractor, you want to be the accountant, then by all means, don't call Brady.
Yes. And that is an option. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Even if you schedule a call with anybody on my team, our calls are free. You can book a call for free. You can talk to a member of our team, and we can look through these packages with you and identify if it's something that you want to do. Great, we'll sign you up. But at the end of the day, if we go through and identify all the things you'll have to take care of, and you think, I just want to try it myself for a little bit, you've got a better understanding now of what you have to do. That's great. Our call will have benefited you. You're not going to hurt our feelings. Most often, what people will do is they'll say, let me try it on my own. And then they'll come back a year later and say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. So, whatever works best for you guys.
You guys are great, on the phone answering questions and stuff. And hassle-free really is a good way to explain it. I didn't feel like I was being sold anything. You guys just answered questions. You were informative, and I did, I became a client whenever I felt like I wanted to be a client. And I got the same feedback from others that, friends and clients and family that I've referred to you guys. they say the same thing. They called, it's a free call, you got answers questions, and that was it. And they decided what they wanted to do from there. So it's not like a sales call where you're going to get arm wrestled to sign up for anything. It's just a call to answer questions to provide you the knowledge that you need to see if it's a good fit for you. So I do really appreciate that very much.
It's easy as well to make changes to your membership. So if you start with something and want to add on other services later, we can do that. Or even if you want to try everything out, maybe start with the full package. Then later on, you realize, I'm not concerned about the privacy. Let's remove that, cut costs back for my business a little bit. We can easily make adjustments to that. Same if you're going to dissolve your business, and say you set it up just so you can, run the course, you know, run a deal through its course. And then once that deal is closed and you've made out like a king, you want to close the business and walk away from it. Just communicate with us. Let us know. We can easily make sure that that's up to date. We'll remove our addresses, make sure it gets dissolved. If you need dissolution assistance to make sure that that's done correctly with the state, we can get you over to KKOS lawyers. They'll actually file a dissolution on your behalf.
Yeah, and don't think it's gonna dissolve on its own. I had a Texas LLC that I didn't end up using because we just had to back off the deal on that one, and KQS helped me, dissolve it, made it very
Yep.
simple and easy. So it's pretty cool. It's not gonna dissolve itself, and you'll get penalties and you'll get fees and all kinds of stuff.
Yep. I made that mistake myself actually when I I was still in college. I did summer sales and door to door all of that with a pest control company. They told me to set up a company to help me with taxes. And I was new to all of this. I had no idea what I was doing. So I went the cheapest route possible. I think I paid $200 to set up an entity. We had none of the paperwork. I had nothing for my business. And I didn't even have, I didn't have any of it. And then at the end of the day, when it came to renew it, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do that again. I didn't love it. I hate the door to door. It was icky. It's just not my bag. So I wanted to just walk away from it. And I thought I could do that. I thought I could just walk away. There wouldn't be any issues. But later on, I would see it. The company was marked as administratively dissolved. And then if I try and do anything with the business later on, there are penalties, there's fees. And depending on your state, those penalties can get pricey.
Yeah.
Like in the state of Florida, for example, it's $400 if you're late on your annual report. And so, and to reinstate the company, if you fail to file it for a certain amount of time and they put you in that administratively dissolved status, you've got to pay a reinstatement fee and then essentially refile it and reopen it. And so, and yeah, and at a certain point, like with Utah, that's where I'm at. In Utah, they mark it as a dead entity. I can't even reinstate mine at this point because I failed to do anything with it for 2 years or more. So it's not something to mess around with.
And I mean, with that example, if you think of it, with that and many other examples, it pays for whatever it costs to have you guys do what you do. Just with saving you the hassle, the mistake, the fee, and all that kind of stuff, it exceeds that amount. So not only that, it's going to help you, it's going to save time, it's going to take the worry away, but in reality, you're paying to save money. You're going to end up saving money overall. And Carlos, I appreciate the comment. Carlos mentioned, he had a very easy process with you guys as well. He connected with you guys recently, and
And
you guys made it very, very easy. So
I'm
yeah,
glad to hear that as well, and I appreciate that, Carlos, especially because I'm the one that helped you get enrolled in the services I believe in. So the biggest thing, and this is just something personal I'll share, and then we can just wrap it up. I'll share this QR code, but for me personally, I have to do something where I feel like I'm making a difference, and that's why I really love it here at Main Street Business Services. I started this job. This was my first job outside of college, and I did it just to be able to tell my mom, "Look, I'm a big kid now. I got my first job, and we're doing things here." And when I came into it, I learned so many things, and I realized just how many people own an LLC in this country. There's so many business owners just trying to make ends meet. They have a W-2 job, but this is their side hustle, and they just want to make sure that it's easy and hands off, hands free, peace of mind, so they can just keep making money. And so I really appreciate being able to work with people like you, Alex, or Carlos, to set this up. And I love to get the good feedback, and I want to make sure you're having a good experience because I know that I did my job well and that my team is also doing our job well. So
Yeah, no, awesome. And you know, the many people that I've met that opened up LLCs incorrectly in the wrong states, the wrong way, and it's like what defeats the purpose? It's just a waste of money, you know?
yes,
It's sad.
yep.
So no, you guys are doing awesome things. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, so here's this is a QR code. You can scan this. Should be clear enough on the screen here. This will take you right to our website through this link, and you'll be able to look at the different packages. You can book a call. We do have a lot of resources on there. Maybe you want to check out some of Mark Kohler or Matt Sorensen's content. We have links to their websites as well, and some of their videos on things, even with BOI reporting. So if you want to learn more about that, but you can see all of our contact information right there.
So please reach out to them, scan the QR code if you want to just have a conversation with them. You don't have to get their services or anything like that. It's truly a game changer for my business. And if you feel the same, reach out to them. Very helpful. Any questions before we wrap this up? Please drop them in the chat, or you can
Yeah.
feel free to unmute. We'd love to hear from you.
Ping, did I answer your question well enough about using the Utah address in California?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't. Because for many businesses, if they are service based, they need the customer know where they are, right? If they have a
Mhm.
Utah address on a business card, that sounds strange.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. And where to list our address is optional. So that's the great thing about it is with privacy address services that we have, you have the option to list our Utah address in place of your own on your website, on business cards, with your EIN, with the IRS, and then with the state. So the main recommendations that we have for clients is obviously with your state filing information with the Secretary of State, because you'll want your clients to know where you're at. You want people to be able to find you. That's how you're going to grow your business. But if you're working out of a home office, you don't want your home address out there. It's not your business. Clients aren't going to show up to your door, and you don't want that. So you have the option to customize how you use our address and use it as needed wherever you'd like. So
Maybe, I mean, to piggyback on this, this is a good question. It's hard to elaborate about every industry, but like in my industry, I don't use my registered agent address on my business card, for example. Like, um, I'm an employee to my corporation. My corporation has a registered agent address. However, my business is not located at that address. For example, on my business card, I'm going to give my office address, but entity wise, it's going to have my registered agent if anybody wants to reach me. So it's going to be two different things. I don't think you have to really expose that registered agent address on regular day-to-day business or regular
no,
marketing. It's more just for the corporation itself.
yeah,
Again,
yeah, and
other
that's why I
businesses may be
say
different. I don't know.
yeah, and that's why I say the registered agent's the most important, just because of the legal responsibility that a registered agent has. And so at the end of the day, with your privacy, where you list addresses, it's up to you. That registered agent, that's going to be the main thing you want to make sure is solid.
So I would like to emphasize is not too many business use their home address. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm a CPA. From my practice, most of the business owner they did not use their home address. They can get a mailbox, or now they have tons of the option available. They did not use their. I think
Hmm.
for most of the business, maybe I'm wrong. They can easily get a California mailbox for less than 100
Hmm.
bucks per month, and like to very close to their house, they can get immediately access to the mail. Is
Yep.
it better than a Utah address?
Yeah, and so in those cases, I think that's a great point, because some states like California will allow you to use a virtual mailbox or even a post office box, a PO box. But there's other states that will not allow you to use that. It's got to be a physical address. And so that's why I say, like, if you have questions, we'll advise you if there's a cheaper alternative that's going to work in the state that you're in. By all means, I think that's the way you should go, because at the end of the day, you want to keep costs low for your business, but you do want to make sure that you're taking advantage of some of these strategies and keeping your privacy in good shape. So I think that that is a great point to bring up. And if you're not familiar with what your state will allow you to list on the state filing, I would look into it a little bit more, or you can schedule a call with us and we'll look into it. But California is one of those that you may be able to use that PO box. And so that's going to be a cheaper alternative. You cannot, I don't believe, use a PO box as a registered agent, though.
No, you
So
can't.
that's
I tried
yeah.
that.
Yep. So that's the difference. And that, again, coming back to that, that's why the registered agent, you want to make sure that that's good. Privacy, we can look into different options there. There's a lot of options out there for privacy and to maximize that. We're not the only option, but we are a great option and we help simplify it for you. So
Well said. Well said. Very cool. Bro, you mentioned the word community, and this is truly what this is all about. This is community. We thank you for coming on and sharing this information with our community, and we hope to see you back again and again. To everyone, again, if you're in the LA area, please stop by next week on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. in Pasadena. We'd love to see you there. Come check out Tirza as she talks about AI. And then next Thursday, same time as today, 3 p.m., we have Nate Hare from Directed IRA. Again, a wealth of knowledge. He's going to be talking about the Checkbook LLC. So we hope to see you there. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, Brady, appreciate you very much, man. And we'll see you guys next time.
of course, and thank you everybody for tuning in.